and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network from pushing Wisconsin ahead. We're constantly raising the bar for medical excellence and providing more ways to receive it, so you have it for all your health needs, big and small. Let's push ahead, and we'll make life here as great as it can be. Visit Freighter.com to find out how.
Hey, John Mercure here for Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. Their mission is to transform the culture of care. They specialize in caring for those with early to late-stage Alzheimer's or other related dementia symptoms, and they offer early memory loss classes to help you. They specialize in this area. It's kindness at the core, locations throughout southeast Wisconsin. It's compassion, it's empathy. It's Wisconsin-based and family-owned, always welcoming people to come tour and welcome their new residents. I've seen their places. They're top-notch. It's Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living.
The dance of sunlight on water.
Shimmering, sparkling, beautiful, hypnotic.
Houses that overlook a gorgeous body of water are the most highly desired houses in the world.
The Bellamare collection of fine jewelry features classic white diamonds, flanked and surrounded by rare and exotic blue diamonds.
Bellamare means beautiful water.
Bellamare, sunlight on water, glimmering and twinkling.
The dance is enticing.
The look is spectacular.
The impact is exciting.
Blue and white diamonds created in the heart of Mother Nature.
Will dance and sing on the body of a glittering, sparkling woman.
Bellamare. This blue and white beauty of sunlight on water
Should be worn on the fingers,
the wrist,
The neck and the ears.
of the woman you love.
The Bellamare collection is available only at Kessler's.
We do diamonds better because diamonds are what we do.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Hey, Wisconsin anglers. This Saturday, head to MW Marine for a free fishing seminar. No reservation needed. Meet Warren Zarin from the Mercury Lund Pro Team and learn West Coast bass techniques that flat out work in Wisconsin. Pick up tips you can use right away. And while you're there, check out the boats and get ready for your best season yet. This Saturday at MW Marine. Free, fun, and you're invited.
Now that the game is done, it's our time to check in.
There's A.J. Green, penetrates into the lane, lobs for Jericho Sims, and that one might put this one out of reach.
Bucks Talk starts now.
Gonna watch the clock evaporate here as the Bucks close strong here. 39 fourth quarter points in the victory.
And now, live from Fiserv Forum, here's Justin Garcia.
An impressive win tonight from the Bucks, who bounced back from a rough one Sunday against the Toronto Raptors and pick up a win against the Miami Heat. It's important on a couple of fronts here. Again, it's one of those games against teams that are in front of you in the standings where you can start to gain some ground. And as we mentioned several times, that's roughly half of your remaining schedule is either teams that are currently in the play-in tournament in the Eastern Conference or teams that are behind you in the standings. So there is your chance to start to go on a run here and make up some of that ground the Bucks have lost. These games are obviously hyper critical, but to do that coming off the performance we saw against the Toronto Raptors, which, again, we talked about it on Sunday, it was a very disappointing performance by that group. To come in winners in 6 out of your previous 7 games, it felt like you were starting to more than build momentum. And mentioning, too, this was an interesting one because this was one to circle in the sense that this is, one of those games against a quality opponent. And I know you caught the Oklahoma City Thunder in that stretch as well. There was no Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Jalen Williams or Isaiah Hartenstein. It was also the final game before the All-Star break, which can sometimes lend itself to not seeing an entirely focused team. But this was a Raptors team that, we didn't know at the time, wouldn't have Scotty Barnes, healthy, playing well, in the top 5 in the Eastern Conference. So this is going to be a challenge. And the Bucks did not meet that challenge on Sunday. And what we said at the time of that game, of the loss, even leading into it, is, look, you're going to lose games the rest of the way. You're not going to go undefeated. You're not going to go on a 31-game win streak. You're going to have losses. It may be one-offs. It may be 3 out of 5 losses. It may be a 3-game losing streak. But those things are going to occur. in your post-All-Star break schedule. The important part, and where you're going to learn a lot about this team, it's not just this one instance, but where you're going to start to learn about this team is how do they respond to those setbacks? How do they move forward? And tonight they took a big step forward. They picked themselves off the mat. They played a hyper-competitive game against a good team in the Miami Heat, and they were the team that made the big shots, that made the big plays, and did everything they needed to fully execute and win this game tonight inside of Fiserv Forum. 855-616-1620 is the Siding Unlimited talk and text line to join us tonight on Bucks Talk as the Bucks get back in the win column. 7th time we have said that now over the course of their last 9 games. And I've shared this before, too. Billy Donovan, the head coach of the Chicago Bulls, oftentimes will view the season in 10-game segments and just look at how do you perform in these 10 versus this group of 10, and what is some of the growth, hopefully, that we've seen. What are the differences that stand out? How have we gotten better? This game tomorrow against Cleveland, that is your 10-game segment. And at worst, the Bucks are going to be 7-3 through those 10 games. If you continue to do that the rest of the way, and you're remaining, 26 games, you're going to be in a pretty good spot here, putting yourself in playoff position. But, look, just as we said, the important part was how did you respond, how did you move forward, and how did you regroup from that game against the Toronto Raptors? It is night 2 of a back-to-back for the Bucks. It is also night 2 of a back-to-back for the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow. And the advantage the Bucks have is they don't have to travel. Both of these games are being played in Milwaukee. Cleveland is traveling into Milwaukee tonight. So, again, you picked yourself off the mat and carried it forward against Miami today. How do you avoid suffering that setback, and what can you carry over from this performance tonight against an even better team that has been clicking on all cylinders since the arrival of James Harden? They've only lost a single game since the trade deadline and that acquisition of James Harden. So how do you continue to carry this forward against the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow night here at Fiserv Forum? 855-616-1620. That is the number to join us tonight on Bucks Talk as we continue to break down the Bucks win over the Miami Heat. We'll take a look at the updated look at the standings. We'll glance at the standings tonight and some more standout performances. We've talked quite a bit about Kevin Porter Jr., rightfully so. He had a tremendous game tonight. There were other players that really deserve an equal amount of praise. We'll get into those individual standouts coming up after this on Bucks Talk.
This is Bucks Talk.
Save on the best quality furniture and mattresses during the President's Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture. With major discounts from our premier suppliers, you will save big bucks on top brands like Bradenton Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradenton Young is known for its fine quality leather upholstery. Fjords brings you modern Scandinavian design recliners and sofas, ergonomically engineered for more hip and back support. Norwalk, with American roots that go back over 100 years, specializes in making furniture just for you. Choose the piece, style, fabric, or leather you want, and in just 35 days, we'll deliver your new sofa, chair, or sectional. In-stock or special orders are all sale priced. Need a little help putting it all together? At Ken Michaels Furniture, our design staff is ready to help you with your purchases, and it's free. Stop in today and save now during the President's Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Recently, a seller that unfortunately ended up choosing another agent called me. She said she made a mistake, and what she was expressing to me sounded like she kind of was bullied into signing with him. Is it typical? Not always, but it will never happen when you hire a Century 21 Benefit Realty agent. I want our agents to be able to look in the mirror and say, I'd want to work with me, not because they're good at saying what you want to hear or offer the lowest commission, but because of trust. Because if you're not feeling that from your agent, that's a problem, and I don't want that. At 1.9% on the listing side of your sale with our commission capped at $19,000, Century 21 Benefit Realty leads with a very fair and transparent commission structure with maximum marketing that can get your home sold fast and for the best price. And saving money matters, but working with someone who will tell you exactly what you need to know up front, that creates trust. And that matters too. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
For growing businesses, digital marketing shouldn't be a gamble. If your business needs results, not guesswork, it's time for a different approach. At Margle Media, we deliver real results for businesses in an evolving digital world. Backed by data, guided by strategy, and focused on actionable outcomes. We partner with businesses of all sizes to drive growth locally or nationwide. Set up a free consultation today. Visit us at marglemedia.com. That's MARGLE media.com.
Welcome back to Bucks Talk.
Impressive win tonight from the Bucks, 128-117. They take care of business against the Miami Heat. And kind of flip the script on Miami as well. As you know, we've seen a couple of really the same things hold true for this Heat team throughout the course of the season. You've heard us talk about their pace and their three-point shooting. You saw a lot of that in the game tonight, especially in the early going. That's been a constant for Miami. We heard it coming into the season, really coming out of training camp, that the same thing we hear, frankly, from every single team. If we want to shoot more threes, and we want to play at a faster pace. Miami has continued that for the duration of the season, but a couple other things they have done with great regularity. 40-point quarters 14 times this season, which is the most in franchise history. Their previous high was 11 that they did 6 seasons ago, and the Bucks basically turned the tables on Miami. Didn't quite get to 40, but scored 39 in the fourth quarter. And that is where the Heat have traditionally done it, in putting their opponents away. 130 or more points. Again, the Bucks narrowly missed out there. That's been a Heat staple this season. They've done it 15 times through their, 59 games. So a quarter of their season, they're scoring 130 or more points. The 15 is also a franchise record. The previous high for Miami, there was 4. So the Bucks really doing the same thing to Miami. They were able to match their pace. They were able to match their physicality and intensity. And again, the play of guys like Kevin Porter Jr., Bobby Portis, Ryan Rollins, Cam Thomas didn't have the shot tonight, but Ousmane Dieng provided those minutes after we were a bit critical of the 15 minutes that Ousmane Dieng played against the Toronto Raptors, 8 of those coming in garbage time. You got 23 minutes tonight from Ousmane Dieng where he played with confidence, hit some big shots, and made some defensive plays that were able to help the Bucks keep things moving defensively. Jericho Sims as well, as he continues to really make an impact on the glass for this Bucks team. 10 rebounds in his near 30 minutes off the bench, and scored all of his points at the rim. Once again tonight, that they're continuing to find ways to get Jericho Sims working from his areas of strength. But those other 3 names we touched on, Bobby Portis, big off the bench, but Ryan Rollins and Kevin Porter Jr., not enough can be said about that duo, especially KPJ in their performance tonight. 855-616-1620 is the Siding Unlimited talk and text line to join us tonight on Bucks Talk. Let's head to the phone lines and check in with Mitch in Milwaukee. You're up first.
Hey, Justin, how's it going? That was an excellent Bucks win tonight. Guys, everyone on the team played great. Just want to give the flowers to that backcourt. Ryan Rollins and KPJ, over 22 points per game in the last 9 games for that duo. KPJ, his passing and playmaking, since he's come back from his injury, has been remarkable. I think you just hit on it a little bit as well, too. I love seeing the increased Ousmane Dieng minutes. I love A.J. Green, but I think there has to be some sort of conversation about getting Ousmane Dieng in the starting rotation as that big 3 that can shoot, but also, too, I love what he's been doing on the boards, but also on the defensive end of the ball as well, too. The way that he's getting his hands in the passing lane, he's a big body as a 3. I think AJ's got the worst whistle in the league. It's not his fault, but I think having Ousmane in there definitely helps. AJ's still a stud as well, too, but overall, great win. Needed this one. Coming into this week, I thought if we got 2 of the 3 games against the Heat, Cavs, and Knicks, if we got 2 of those games, we'd be flying high. And sure enough, we picked up the game that was the most gettable, which is the Heat, setting us up well for the next 2 games. And then I got my buddy Joe here with a couple thoughts as well here real quick.
Yeah, Justin, thanks for having us on here tonight. My thoughts are really, how do we take a team that's doing so well, won 7 of the last 9? How do we bring back in a, top player in the NBA and Giannis Antetokounmpo? Where do we take those minutes from? Everyone's scoring good right now with Kuzma, Uzma, Rilo, and KPJ. Like, how do we fit him back in seamlessly and integrate him with the addition of Cam Thomas as well?
Thanks, Justin. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks for the call. And first of all, he hates the name Rilo. I don't know who it was. I think KPJ, someone gave it to him. He has made it pretty well known. He hates that name. Look, it's a good problem to have, too. And how do you work Giannis back into the mix when you're starting to discover some things? Giannis is going to need some help. And we still don't know when it is that Giannis is going to be back. I think a lot of us, myself included, I don't know how much of a mixture it was between hopeful and optimistic, but there was a bit of a mix there. But regardless, if you want to say it was more optimism or more hope, we had a lot of it that Giannis was going to be back probably by this point, right? You were wondering, is he going to be good to go? We heard from him. He's pretty close to it at the All-Star game. For your first game out of the break in New Orleans against the Pelicans, that wasn't the case. So then the first thing we monitored was, okay, let's check the injury report on Saturday, see how it looks for Toronto. Still not the case. Wasn't the case today. Bucks don't have to submit an injury report until tomorrow. Based on some of the things we heard from Doc Rivers prior to the game, I would venture to guess we are not going to see Giannis in that game tomorrow against the Cleveland Cavaliers. All we got is he hasn't played 5-on-5 yet. We know Giannis got some 3-on-3 in last week coming back from the break. But Doc said we don't really need him to go through 5-on-5. It's usually just 4-on-4 that we need to get those reps in. That's usually good enough, but he hasn't suffered any setbacks, so there's none of that. You just get the sense they're being extra cautious with him, and rightfully so. Giannis himself has he didn't verbally say I came back too soon, but alluded to it that, 2 times rushed back from this injury to try and help the team and said if our record wasn't what it was, that wouldn't have been the case. He's missed 12 consecutive games. The long before that was 7, I believe, when he came back from that Cavs injury, the injury in Cleveland against the Cavs, ironically enough. But he missed 7 consecutive games and came back, a week or so earlier than a lot of us anticipated. So I do imagine they're going to be extra cautious with him, not only because of his importance as one of the 3 best players in the league, but the fact that this has now become reoccurring with that calf issue. And not only reoccurring the past 3 seasons, multiple times this season. And it does seem as though, okay, this is the 3 strikes and you're out mentality that if this pops up again, it's probably it for this season for Giannis. So, yeah, they're going to be cautious with him. It's a good problem to have. And Giannis is going to need help, too. I mean, I think that was a big chunk of what we saw earlier in the season when he was 500. Things were really clicking the first week or so of the season. And, Bobby Portis, when he was talking with Gabe and I after the game, talked about, we were really good early in the season. They were 4-1, right? That was the high point of the season, but it was some big wins. They beat the Warriors without Giannis. They beat the Knicks in a pair of standout Ryan Rollins games. They beat the Raptors, a team that just manhandled them a couple of days ago. They were competitive with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So they were playing really well, and then it just kind of started to slip away, and then Giannis got hurt, and this team just struggled to find its identity. They are moving closer and closer to finding that. I don't know that we could say there is a clear-cut identity for this group just yet, but you're getting closer to it. Like, we're starting to see they're becoming a rebounding team. I mentioned going into that Raptors game, that's where the big turnarounds started to take place for the Bucks. In those 7 games, they were number 5 in overall rebounding rate at 54%. It was sub 50% prior to that. So in other words, of all the rebounds available in the game, what percentage of them do you get? 54% for the Bucks in those 7 games, 5th best in the league. Defensive rebounding rate, number 1 rated in that category. An offensive rebounding rate, they went from 30 to 13 in those 7 games. They played differently. We heard Darvin Ham, maybe he gave the answer away and said the quiet part out loud after that win against the Oklahoma City Thunder, but we're more aggressive on the glass, on the defensive glass and on the offensive glass. We've leaned into size a bit more, and you continue to see that kind of wax and wane at times these past couple of games, but continuing to get minutes and opportunities for a guy like Jericho Sims, who just shows you his value in rebounding the basketball. Again, 10 rebounds in his 30 minutes tonight. 3 of those were offensive rebounds. The Bucks won this game, by the way, without a single defense or offensive rebound in the second half. It was a 10-6 Bucks advantage at halftime, and it ends up being a 14-10 Miami advantage for the game. And among those 10 offensive rebounds, Kevin Porter Jr. and Jericho Sims had 6 of them. But, I go back to when we heard from Eric Spoelstra before the game, and we talked about this on the broadcast too. He specifically talked about rebounding and how critical it was for Miami, how much basically, of their identity that rebounding is. He said rebounding is one of our biggest barometers for success on both sides. Bam Adebayo, Kel'el Ware, they're both elite rebounders, and the way the league is now, it can't just be your bigs. Perimeter players have to get into the scrum, and they can't just be spectators. More often than not, that's where it has cost the Bucks this season, and we've talked about it many times already. When you look at the rebounding issues, when they were healthy, too, you got Miles Turner and Giannis in the front court. You got some size there. We've seen lineups with Kyle Kuzma. We've seen limited looks where they're going bigger. And you think about some of those lineups they rolled out against the Oklahoma City Thunder when you're going with Jericho and Bobby and Usman Jang. But by and large, they have played 3 guards in the starting lineup. I think the big difference we've seen in this game and really during that 7-game stretch, so overall these 9 games where the Bucks have won 7 of them, is even when they're not starting a traditional lineup, they're still starting 3 guards. If they're not starting Usman Jang or Kyle Kuzma or someone else that is a true forward at the 3, they're at least getting those minutes throughout the game. Like, we can make too much at times over who starts the game versus, how many minutes are you playing or who's closing this game. It does have some importance, as you want to get off to a fast start. You can't dig yourself a hole. But the Bucks have done at least a better job of saying, okay, just because this is the grouper start, that doesn't mean this is how we're going to play for the duration of the game, and that's what's helped them out more than anything on the offensive glass, on the defensive glass as well. Because, look, the shot difference is still the thing that haunts this team more than anything. And you've heard me talk about it quite a few times now. We've talked so many times about the modern math of the NBA the past few years, and it's always been viewed as, well, threes, right? Take more threes because it's worth 1 more point than your 2. So the modern math is, if you're going to take more threes and make more threes, you're going to win the game more times than not. The modern math now has just become possessions. Are you going to get more possessions than your opponents? And the way you do that is you force turnovers or you get rebounds. Defensive rebounds to limit what they get, offensive rebounds to juice the additional cracks at it that you get. And the Bucks have not done a good job of that basically throughout the course of the season. But it has started to change over the course of these past 9 games now. We're coming into that stretch. Bucks were dead last in the league, and they still rank last in the NBA. We'll see how much that changes with tonight's result and the Washington Wizards result. But the Bucks still rank last. They're giving up nearly 4.5 more true shot attempts per game than their opponent. Again, they don't force a high volume of turnovers. They've had turnover problems in bunches where they're giving up too many of them, and that just leads to more shots for your opponent. What it shows you is no matter how good your offense is, and for the Bucks, it's been pretty good, right? The same time period that we're talking about during this stretch, Bucks have been the number 4 rated offense in the league. Number 1 rated offense in the half court. But you better hit 100% of your shots if you're going to lose in the possession battle, in the shot attempt, by that much. And that's what we've seen. In these 9 games, the Bucks have gone from minus 4.5 to basically even with their opponent. And what you see is a team that's gone from, at worst, 9 games below 500 to 7-2 over those 9 games. So it just shows you how important it is to get at least, at bare minimum, as many field goal attempts as your opponent does. And as we look at tonight, true shot attempts for Miami, 105.9. True shots for the Bucks, 105.4. 855-616-1620 is the Siding Unlimited talk and text line to join us tonight on Bucks Talk. A big win for the Bucks, taking down the Miami Heat behind some big games from Kevin Porter Jr. and Ryan Rollins. Haven't touched on those two yet. We'll get into that conversation coming up after this on Bucks Talk.
You're listening to Bucks Talk.
All you have is one chance after an accident, one decision on who to call, one shot to get the help you need. Don't waste it on the one offer you get from your insurance company. Make the one call to Gruber Law Offices. It's the only one you'll need to make. Call us today. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Hey, this is Mike from Infinity Exteriors. Buying a roof, siding, or windows can feel overwhelming. Hidden costs, confusing contracts. We don't play that game. We educate you so you can decide. And when you know the facts, Infinity Exteriors is the clear choice. Since 1997, we've installed peace of mind with no surprise upcharges, flexible budgets, and immediate financing. Infinity Exteriors, saving our communities from unscrupulous contractors. Visit infinityexteriors.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your car can't express its gratitude when you get an oil change, but the people you're helping will sure appreciate it, because when you visit an Adam member new car dealer through May 16th, they'll donate $1 from every oil change to Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin. To date, Adam has donated more than $960,000, providing 2.8 million meals. To find a participating Adam dealer near you, visit adamm.com. And thank you.
Your European experts at Fox World Travel are ramping up and busy as ever. When you want to see more of Europe, Princess Cruises delivers. With Princess Cruises and Fox World Travel, explore iconic Mediterranean ports by day, then relax in classic comfort by night. From immersive shore excursions to destination-inspired dining, every moment is designed to feel effortless. Ready to set sail on your Mediterranean adventure? Call 866-GO-FOX-GO or visit foxworldtravel.com to book your European getaway.
Planet Fitness has everything you need anytime the motivation hits, so you can give everything you've got. With most clubs open 24 hours, you've got access to our best-in-class equipment to tackle early morning reps, late-night miles, and every workout in between. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends February 27th. You ready? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
The Round Ball Repartee returns. This is Bucks Talk.
.128 to 117, our final tonight inside of Fiserv Forum. It's the Bucks taking down the Miami Heat. A very strong win, an impressive bounce back from that performance against the Raptors on Sunday. And, you know, this was, again, a game that start to finish was very highly competitive. We joked several times. It kind of felt like the margin sat around 3 for the duration of the game, really outside of that run the Bucks went on to build up a 12-point lead, which quickly vanished. And then the final margin being 11, where they just poured it on at the end. Miami just struggled to get anything going offensively down the stretch of this game. Largest lead for the Bucks, 12. Largest lead for Miami was 9. And, you know, again, turnovers was another thing to point out, and how critical that was going to be because of the similar setup in terms of team personnel between the Miami Heat and the Toronto Raptors, and just how much turnovers cost the Bucks in that game against the Raptors. 48-19 was the difference in those hustle category points. Your points scored off of turnovers and second chance points coming through your offensive rebounds. Tonight, the Bucks scored 11 points off of 16 Heat turnovers. So you won that battle. And I hesitate to say won, because as we saw, especially in the early going, there was a handful of these Heat turnovers that I frankly don't know what they were. It was just self-inflicted wounds by Miami of one hand on the ball, balls going out of bounds. A lot of unforced errors from Miami in this game, but they committed more turnovers than the Bucks at 16-11. They scored more off of those turnovers. 16 points scored off the 11 Bucks turnovers. Again, 11 points scored for the Bucks off of those Heat turnovers. Bucks scored 15 second chance points on their 10 offensive rebounds. Miami scored 18 on their 14 offensive rebounds. So they did win those categories, finishing 34-26, plus 8 in that margin. But you can work with that difference. You just can't get run off the floor as they did against Toronto. 16 made threes from both of these teams. Miami took more than the Bucks. The Bucks shot 41% from the outside. Free throws started to become a problem. The Bucks were doing a good job of getting to the line. Kevin Porter Jr. was almost entirely that guy, getting to the line 8 times and connecting on all 8 of them. Kyle Kuzma got things going, playing downhill. He took 4 free throws. Miami, it really came from Norm Powell, who took 14 of their 27 free throws in this game. So that was really the big difference. But the Bucks, again, able to keep it within arm's length on the margins, and they made up for it in other areas. They were getting into the paint and playing downhill. Kevin Porter Jr. was such a huge part of that. Their bench production, 46 off the bench. They outscored Miami, who came into this one that he did as the 5th leading bench scoring team in the league. Ousmane Dieng, again, continues to play confident in those minutes that he's out there. I still don't think we truly know what the Bucks have in Ousmane Dieng, but I think you know there's something there. We've seen enough to know there's something, and there's at least something worth molding and working with if you're this Bucks team. And again, tonight, not just the 11 points scored and the confidence he played with offensively, 6 rebounds. He helped give you some size on the perimeter, and just his overall defensive presence, another big piece for this team as well. But your backcourt. Ryan Rollins has had some tough shooting nights of late. That was not the case tonight. 9 of 16 from the field, 21 points, 5 assists for Rollins. Now, 4 turnovers, and you've heard me harp on turnovers several times with individuals and with the team. The 4 turnovers number still not one that I'd say you live with. It's still something you got to see come down, especially if we're looking at a 5-4 assist to turnover ratio. But keep in mind, the game against the Raptors, Ryan Rollins had 5 turnovers and had 1 assist on 17 field goal attempts. Kevin Porter Jr. was your only player outside of Jericho Sims with more than a single assist. So that backcourt, what they were able to do, 20 of 36 shooting, 3 of 6 on threes, 10 of 10 at the free throw line. They combined for 12 assists and 53 combined points. KPJ with a new season high 32. Ryan Rollins has scored 20 points or more in 3 consecutive games. But Kevin Porter Jr., to me, was the standout in this game. Right? You saw some really good things from Ousmane Dieng, albeit limited. You saw some really good things continued from Jericho Sims. You did not get the offensive performance from Cam Thomas. And you go back to that game against the Orlando Magic. We talked about it at the time. The week that Cam Thomas has been with the Milwaukee Bucks. It's the Cam Thomas experience in a nutshell, and what we've seen in Brooklyn, throughout the first few years of his career. He will have 1 out of every so many games where he goes off for 30-plus points and just takes over offensively. He'll have 1 game where you don't even notice he's out there. He'll have another game where Cam Thomas scored in double figures, didn't have that type of offensive outburst, but he was perfectly fine. That's Cam Thomas, and that's what we've continued to see so far. But he just gives you that threat and that ability to create offense, especially in the half court, which this team has missed for various reasons this season. But Kevin Porter Jr., to finish that point, was the standout tonight. 32 points, and it's how he did it. 11 of 20 shooting, protected the ball with just one turnover. He was plus 10. The only starter that was higher was A.J. Green, who despite only 8 points and just 2 of 6 shooting on threes, was a plus 12 because of the gravity that A.J. Green is going to create. But Kevin Porter Jr.'s ability to beat his man off the dribble, get into the lane, and finish the unorthodox, the deceleration, however you want to term it, what he can do to get his man off balance and the way he was finishing at the rim tonight, everything in their offense opened up because of Kevin Porter Jr.'s ability to win his one-on-one assignments, get into the paint, and break down the Miami Heat defense. And when he's able to do that, and you think about adding Giannis into that mix, you think about guys that have started to really piece together stronger play, what Jericho Sims has given you as a role player, the addition of Cam Thomas as a bench scorer coming off your bench, the continued growth of Ryan Rollins this season. Now Ousmane Dieng is another piece, right? A true small forward to throw out there for this Bucks team. That's where the optimism sets in for this group with the schedule that they have remaining. Again, not overly challenging, still have plenty of opportunities to make up a lot of that ground with those teams and those opponents that you have on your schedule in front of you. But those players and their level of talent, whether or not inconsistency is the key or however you want to term it, we haven't seen Kevin Porter Jr. ascend. We've seen moments. We haven't seen that full ascension. Ryan Rollins is still a very, very young player. This is his first real crack at consistent rotational minutes. Ousmane Dieng we've seen briefly here, but again, 22 years old, and we heard the message from Doc Rivers after the game. He's 22. He's only going to continue to get better each and every night. That you need these young guys to go through those lumps and continue to grow and learn throughout the season. And now that back half is where that mixture of the things they've learned, the growth that they've really started to go through and process throughout the course of this season, and now the addition of veterans and guys like Bobby and Miles Turner and Giannis making his return, Cam Thomas, to a young veteran, those guys that have been through, Kyle Kuzma, these types of minutes, that's what can help push this team in the right direction. But absolutely cannot say enough good things about Kevin Porter Jr. tonight, and we've heard Rajon Rondo has been working exclusively with those two guys. And I think you're really starting to see it with both of those players. Countless times we have heard from Doc Rivers, we don't have a true point guard on this team. Like, both of these guys are kind of combo guards, and they have some of the components, but I wouldn't classify Kevin Porter Jr. as a true point guard, nor would I say Ryan Rollins is a true point guard, and that's true. But I do think Kevin Porter Jr. is the closer of the two, and the continued steps forward that we have seen from Kevin Porter Jr. has been critical to this team, especially during these past 9 games. 855-616-1620, the Signing Unlimited talk and text line to join us tonight on Bucks Talk. A busy night of games tonight across the NBA, and we already highlighted all the ones of the most importance for the Bucks. Unfortunately, did not go their way. Not so much Philly, but that's another team that's in front of you in the standings. And with no Paul George serving that 25-game suspension, it is at least worth monitoring to say, okay, let's keep an eye on where they finish. Philadelphia wins. Atlanta takes care of business against the Washington Wizards, 119-98. And again, we talked about those true shooting attempts. We'll see where the Bucks check in tomorrow morning when we recalculate that list. Maybe, just maybe, keeping even with the Miami Heat tonight and looking at a game where the Wizards took 84 field goals and 17 free throws. And the Atlanta Hawks took 107 field goals and 26 free throws. They dominated them in that true shot category. Maybe, just maybe, that's enough to plunge the Bucks up to number 29. But Atlanta wins and takes care of business in that game. So you keep the pace with Atlanta. Toronto loses, but that's still quite a bit of ground to make up that I'm not sure the help that actually provides the Bucks. Charlotte, that's the other important one, wins by 32 points tonight, taking care of the Chicago Bulls. So nothing really went your way. Orlando's another one worth keeping tabs on. They're at the half right now in Los Angeles, and the Lakers are up on the Magic 56-53. But tomorrow, you get the Toronto Raptors on night 2 of a back-to-back as they're taking on the Spurs. Other than that, it's the Bucks and the Cavs. There's nothing else worth monitoring in those teams right around the Bucks in the Eastern Conference standings. On Thursday, Charlotte Hornets play. Unfortunately, it's another one of those tanking teams, the Indiana Pacers. The Atlanta Hawks play. Unfortunately, it's a second straight game against the Washington Wizards. So breaks, at least in the near term here, are going to be tough for the Bucks to come by. 855-616-1620, the Siding Unlimited talk and text line to join us tonight on Bucks Talk. An 11-point win, taking care of the Miami Heat here inside of Fiserv Forum. We'll dig into the rest of the numbers after this on Bucks Talk.
The Hardwood Homilies continue after this. This is Bucks Talk.
Menards' 11% rebate is here. From lighting to lumber, from doors to floors. The bigger the project, the bigger the rebate. From painting projects to that new kitchen makeover and designing that outdoor space of your dreams. Save big on any project you're tackling. Hurry into Menards for an 11% rebate on everything. Mail-in rebate is a merchandise credit check, not a point-of-sale discount. Redeemable on future in-store purchases only. Not on future purchases on Menards.com. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Recalculating route. Estimated arrival time. Never.
For people with nasal congestion, snoring, or sleep apnea, finding a solution feels like a never-ending road trip.
First stop, my primary doctor. Then the pharmacy. Then a sleep specialist. Then an ENT.
What if there was just one destination for all your problems?
Welcome to Advent, Milwaukee's one-stop solution for nasal congestion, snoring, and sleep apnea for over 20 years. Unlike many other practices, we focus exclusively on these conditions, so you get comprehensive care in one location. Over 95% of patients with severe nasal breathing issues report improvement. Plus, most insurance is accepted for our effective 20-minute in-office treatments.
You have arrived at Clear Breathing.
2026 Brewers tickets are on sale now. This year, it all kicks off at our house with opening day at home, followed up with a schedule that's absolutely loaded. Throw in the same flair for the dramatic thrills on any given night. Plus Brewers giveaways you won't forget. And you've got a season you're going to have to see to believe. Don't miss a second of Brewers action this year. The crew is back for more. All Brewers tickets for the 2026 season are on sale now at Brewers.com.
Prizes, flyaways, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting WTMJ.com/contests.
That's WTMJ.com/contests. This is Bucks Talk.
$128-117, our final score here tonight inside of Fiserv Forum. The Bucks bounce back and take care of business against the Miami Heat. An impressive win. Again, impressive games from Kevin Porter Jr., Ryan Rollins, especially Bobby Portis with a big game, Jericho Sims as well. So the Bucks, again, just starting to find that footing once again. And you look back to what they've been able to do over the course of these last 9 games now. We're almost, not a huge sample size, but almost to a 10-game sample here. A 7-2 record for the Bucks. They have the number 4 offense in the league over those 9 games at 120.1. The only 3 teams that have been better are 3 pretty good offenses and teams. The San Antonio Spurs, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Denver Nuggets. The defense for the Bucks is a 115.3, which is 18th. Now, look, a lot of that does have to do with how Toronto just ran through you on Sunday. But if you can get close to middle of the pack in defense and continue to play like this, not necessarily 4th, but hover around the top 10 in offense, you're going to find some success here, and they've been just outside of the top 10 in net rating as well. Again, the way they've done it is with rebounding, 6th best now rebounding team in the league during that stretch. They are number 5 on the defensive glass, and they continue to move north in offensive rebounding, number 15 during that stretch. So they are limiting opponents' second chance opportunities by getting the defensive rebound. They're creating more for themselves by getting offensive rebounds. The big thing to monitor is I do believe what we've seen for these 9 games, it is sustainable in terms of their rebounding and in terms of their offense. Defense is going to have to continue to carve some things out and take a step forward here. But there's no reason to believe that rebounding number is not sustainable. There's no reason to believe being a top 10 offense is inconceivable for this group as well. The rest of the way, I should say. Not get up to there for the season as a whole, but to be a top 10 offense the rest of the way. The way they're getting there and what they have to focus on is those turnovers. They're number 1 in the league in effective field goal percentage. They've been right around the top team in the league for the duration of the season. During these 9 games, they're number 1. To distill that and boil that down, it means they've been efficient. They've been the most efficient team in the league during this stretch. If you're going to at least draw even on possessions and shot attempts, and you are that efficient offensively, you're going to score a lot of points. And you're going to have a highly rated offense where all you're going to have to do is just be okay defensively. And as long as you can do that, you're going to win a lot of games. So that's what's sustainable with this group. The one thing that makes all of it unsustainable is turnovers. And that number still hasn't been good enough, even during this stretch. And again, that that Raptors game was a lot of this. But the Bucks are still number 20, just outside the bottom 10 in turnover rate during that stretch. That number at worst has to be league average. That's where you're going to have to be because you're not dominant on either of those ends in terms of rebounding the basketball. You're not like the Houston Rockets earlier in the season where they're just using their size and bullying teams and putting up some eye-popping offensive rebounding numbers. That's not you, and that's fine. But you have to at least be average at protecting the ball then to start to move those numbers in your advantage. So as it sits right now, there's a bit of a good news, bad news setup going on for this Bucks team. The good news is with 26 games remaining now, the Bucks have the number 17 ranked schedule in terms of opponent win percentage. The aggregate win percentage of every single opponent left in their schedule is .499. So basically a 500 schedule the rest of the way that the Bucks are playing. For reference, the toughest schedule remaining belongs to the Denver Nuggets, whose opponents have won 56% of their games. By a wide margin, that is number 1. Number 2 is Oklahoma City at 54%. Number 3 is Minnesota at 53%. So you're seeing the trend there of, a lot of really good Western Conference teams who have games left against each other. They have the toughest remaining schedules. So the Bucks are right around middle of the pack at number 17. That's the good news. The bad news, all those teams we mentioned, that, look, you still have a chance to catch, that you're still chasing, and wins like tonight are very important in helping you get there. But all those remaining teams, the Charlotte Hornets, they're number 19 in strength of schedule. They have 23 games left, 3 fewer games. They're also at a .499 win percentage. The Atlanta Hawks, 22 games remaining, 49% win percentage for their opponents. The Orlando Magic is more difficult, but that's going to require more work for the Bucks to get up there and catch them. So the point of all of it is, all these teams, really, the Bucks, the Hawks, the Hornets, the main ones to key in on here. Bucks have more games remaining than any of those teams. But all 3 of those teams, very home-heavy slate the rest of the way. Pretty similar schedule to be 17, 19, and 24 in your opponent win percentage rankings. And they have a pretty similar grouping of teams left. The Bucks 2 games left against the Brooklyn Nets, 1 game against the Pacers, 2 games against the Utah Jazz, who just continue to find new ways to really toy with the rules of tanking. The Dallas Mavericks are on there. The Memphis Grizzlies are on there. You got one game with the Chicago Bulls left. That's this weekend. You look at Charlotte, 2 games with Sacramento, 2 games with Indiana, 1 game with Brooklyn. They've got Memphis and Dallas on the schedule. You look at Atlanta, 2 games with Brooklyn, just as the Bucks do. 2 games with the Dallas Mavericks, 1 game with the Memphis Grizzlies. They got the Kings, and they got the Bucks on there 2 times, 1 at home and 1 on the road. The Bucks have already won the first matchup with the Hawks. That's the other important part of all of this, and why those games are your most important games that we have left on the schedule. So we'll wrap up that point, take a look at tomorrow's opponent, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and check in on your updated standings coming up after this on the on Bucks Talk.
This is Bucks Talk.
Heart disease won't stop us. Diabetes, allergies, cancer. Nothing will keep the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network from pushing Wisconsin ahead. We're constantly raising the bar for medical excellence and providing more ways to receive it, so you have it for all your health needs, big and small. Let's push ahead, and we'll make life here as great as it can be. Visit Freighter.com to find out how.
A buck doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee and Waukesha. Griffin. The buck stops here, but the deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
From those with no experience to firearms enthusiasts, all are welcome at Mission 94 Firearms Education Center. The staff is deeply committed to providing a welcoming and engaging environment for everyone at every level. Learn the right way to handle firearms, level up your skills, and experience replica firearms from different historical eras while learning about their role in protecting our freedoms throughout history. Visit veteran-owned and managed Mission 94 in Kenosha today. Check out the 5-star reviews. Just Google Mission 94.
Recently, a seller that unfortunately ended up choosing another agent called me. She said she made a mistake, and what she was expressing to me sounded like she kind of was bullied into signing with him. Is it typical? Not always, but it will never happen when you hire a Century 21 Benefit Realty agent. I want our agents to be able to look in the mirror and say, I'd want to work with me. Not because they're good at saying what you want to hear or offer the lowest commission, but because of trust. Because if you're not feeling that from your agent, that's a problem. And I don't want that. At 1.9% on the listing side of your sale with our commission capped at $19,000, Century 21 Benefit Realty leads with a very fair and transparent commission structure with maximum marketing that can get your home sold fast and for the best price. And saving money matters, but working with someone who'll tell you exactly what you need to know up front, that creates trust. And that matters too. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Welcome back to Bucks Talk.
$128-117, our final tonight at Fiserv Forum. A bounce-back win for the Bucks, who take care of business against the Miami Heat. That was one of those critical games that you have remaining. So now 1 game left against Miami this season. It is on the road in Miami. You have already won the head-to-head tiebreaker with the Charlotte Hornets. If you win that game in Miami, you will win the head-to-head tiebreaker against the Heat. You have 2 games remaining against the Atlanta Hawks, and all you have to do is split those 2 games, and you win the head-to-head tiebreaker with Atlanta. And you have 1 game remaining with the Orlando Magic. You have currently split your 2 games. That 1 game, by the way, is at home. But not only that, it is in all likelihood, because it's about 2 weeks away, coming at a stretch where the Magic are going to be playing without Franz Wagner, which is a big break for the Bucks. You win that game, and you will secure the head-to-head tiebreaker. The point of all of that is the importance of having those tiebreakers, especially when we're talking about how tightly bunched up these teams are. Bucks are 25-31 on the season. The Bucks, the Hornets, and the Hawks each have 31 losses. The Hornets have 3 fewer games remaining than the Bucks. The Hawks have 4 fewer games remaining than the Bucks. The difference right now is wins. The Hawks have won 4 more games than the Bucks. The Hornets have won 3 more games than the Bucks. They have the same amount of losses. So it makes those head-to-head games all the more critical. And if you secure the head-to-head tiebreaker in each of those, right, as long as you don't absolutely fumble the remaining games that you have, the remaining in 26 games, now 11, so 15 remaining games, you're going to be in a really good spot. I still think 39 wins is going to get you the 10 seed. So that's the bar to clear. Can you at least get to 39 wins? Maybe it's 40, right? It's traditionally been 39 for that 10 seed. Maybe Charlotte, moves higher than 10. Maybe Atlanta moves higher than 10. But if you get to 39, you should be in a relatively good spot. It's not to say you shouldn't strive for something higher than 39. But 14-12 gets you to 39 wins on the season. 15-11 gets you to 40-42, which still, it is not ideal. I'm not trying to make that point. It is certainly not what the Bucks expected or where they hoped to be. But if you can just continue to get this momentum rolling in that right direction, just better than 500, that isn't a big ask. And especially if those wins are coming against those opponents and what that's going to mean for you in the tiebreaker and just that head-to-head margin, too. The win basically counts as 2. It's a win for you and a loss for them. So those remain the extra important games for the Bucks to close out this regular season. Now you got Cleveland tomorrow, and that is a team that has really been on a tear since the trade deadline and when they acquired James Harden. They had been on a 5-game win streak since acquiring Harden. They've now won 6 of their last 7, similar to the Bucks. But overall, it's a Cavs team that's won 8 of their last 9, and you can take it a step further than that. 13 of their last 15 games that this team has won. They have started to play a much, much different brand of basketball. You go all the way back to the start of a road trip where they played Christmas Day in New York against the Knicks. They lose that game to drop to 17-15. 2 days later, they're in Houston, and that was really towards the peak of when Houston was playing at a tremendous level. They lose to the Houston Rockets to drop to 17-16 on the season. From that point forward, the Cleveland Cavaliers have gone 20-6. So they have found their mojo, they found that extra gear, and now they're pushing the New York Knicks, where we could be looking at a Knicks-Raptors first-round matchup and a Sixers-Cavs first-round matchup, and then who knows what comes out of the play-in tournament. But it's a Cleveland team that's been playing incredibly well. Again, their win tonight over that New York Knicks team, and what James Harden has added to this group. The honeymoon of James Harden has never been the problem. It's always been as you're going into that final year, and that contract is on the line. That is a 7 o'clock tip-off tomorrow at Fiserv Forum. 3rd game of this 4-game homestand for the Bucks, and then they wrap up the homestand on Friday nights with the New York Knicks. 7 o'clock tip tomorrow for the Bucks and the Cavs. 6:30 is when our pregame coverage begins, and as always, be sure to stick around after the game for Bucks Talk. We'll talk with you once again tomorrow night.
When was the last time you watched your home movies?
Disasters strike unexpectedly. Every year, American families lose the one thing they'd run